Welcome to LMS Cast TV. This is Middle School 101, Internet and Technology Safety. And this is Miss Molaski, the LMS school principal here. And I'm here today with Miss Christine Bob, who's one of our school counselors, Miss Garini, who's also one of our school counselors, and Mr. Stamatelos, our technology teacher. And like I said, we're going to be talking to you today about Internet and Technology Safety. Recently, our counselors had an opportunity to attend a workshop that was done by High Impact Youth Training Solutions, and they gave their top 10 tips for parents to help protect your child on the internet and those safety measures that you need to take. We also have some information that we're going to share from Common Sense Media, some great tips for you as parents on what you can do to keep a safe household in terms of technology. So let's just get started. Tip number 1 is to establish an age-appropriate time frame for when your child is allowed to be on the internet and discuss internet safety with your child.
So I think this one's really about setting routines with your child that you follow as well as a family. If you have downtime in your house between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., then you can go ahead and set that as the time that you all can use electronic devices. And then just make sure that you're putting the electronics away an hour before bedtime. That way they have time to decompress and have a good sleep that night. And make sure that you're physically taking the devices away. You don't know if they have it in their room. So if you take it and keep it in your room, you know that they're not going to be on it at bedtime.
Yeah, what we see here at the middle school is, we see tired kids coming in every morning because they're up until the wee hours talking to their friends. They hide their devices, under their pillows. It's either their phone or their tablets, and they're almost addicted to them. So it's really important, as you said, to have that routine, to set that time where everybody in the house is, taking advantage of that time and that decompression time. I don't think we give kids enough time to rest.
And that's one of the things that, throughout the middle school, we have to be fair. So parents, that's a place when you can show, we're not going to use my phone. None of us. Okay. We're at the dinner table, we're at homework time, whatever it happens to be. You show them that you hold yourself to the same rule, and that fairness really just kind of keeps everyone, working together, for what is, a good thing for everyone. So that fairness part, I think is, a really important part to it.
I agree. Yeah. I think it's important too. Like every time when I go out to dinner and I see, families out to dinner, it's supposed to be family time, and I'll see kids that are texting or they have a tablet out and they're not focused on that family time, and it's so precious to have that time that we really need to take full advantage of it. Mm-hmm. So those are important. So let's review a little bit about tip number 1. Some of the things that we just went over is setting routines for your child. So what does that routine look like in your house? As we said, everybody is going to be on at a certain time, and then at a certain time we're going to stop. Or we're not going to allow it to be at dinner time. One of the other things is, taking that device away possibly. So you have to figure that out prior to giving them that device, and what does that look like? And as a family, it's important to talk about it. I think Ms. Bobby said, really talk to your child about what they think.
Make it a conversation, and one that you revisit time after time.
Yeah, it's important to go back to it because where their homework might be getting in the way if they don't get time to do that, or the stress of maybe they have to collaborate with a friend or it's set at a certain time. So they need to know that there's that open communication as well. One of the big things we say is about taking devices away an hour before bedtime. And, that one I think is a huge one because we really want to know where the device is at night. And, are they charging it? But also we know that this is such a crucial time for teenagers to get sleep. Their bodies are changing, they're growing. And they just need to have that downtime. And it's really difficult to even get to sleep when you're looking at a screen 5 seconds before, you're saying goodnight. You need to have that time. So other things that you can do is, read a book, have some family, game board night, whatever it is. But everybody needs that downtime before going to bed. And then setting expectations. We talked about this in terms of the routines with your child, but really having that conversation ahead of time about what you want them using the device for. Is the phone just to play games on, or is it because you bought them a phone because you want them to be connected to you? Once you're home and you're with them in the house, they don't really need to be on their phone to necessarily do homework and such. So think about what the expectation of actually having that device is. This one we didn't really touch upon, but was check the history. So we can add to that a little bit about checking the history.
I think it's important when you're establishing those expectations to have a conversation with your kid about what sites they're visiting and to have that open communication. Sometimes kids aren't going to be honest with what they're looking at. So it's important that you take it upon yourself to check the history frequently and routinely. Like at least once a week, you pick a day, you're going to your kid's device, find out what they're looking at to make sure that they're, listening to what you're telling them and they're honoring those expectations.
They're really good about hiding, the screen.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily can see
right.
what site that they're on or who they're talking to. So it really is important to go back. I mean, you have to trust your child and you have to have those conversations. However, as parents, they are young. We're talking about middle school kids anywhere between the ages of 12 and 14 years old, and they need us to be their parents and to make sure that there's somebody checking. How hard is it to check the history, Mr. Sam would tell us?
Yeah, I mean, there's always you'll always have a settings portion of your computer or your phone where you can just look back at the history. So you can look back, as far as your device will allow. Sometimes that's weeks, sometimes months, sometimes anything that you've been on. Yeah. So the kids know where it is. They know how to find the history. So it's a simple conversation.
Show you.
And it's not an I gotcha thing. It's make it a routine so that they understand, and then checking history won't be a big deal because if they know that's the precedent and that's there, it'll just be part of what your routine is.
And that goes back to the expectations. So you're absolutely right. So, all right. So that is our first LMS Cast TV. That's tip number 1 on internet and technology safety. We have lots more tips to go. So we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned for our next broadcast of internet and technology safety on LMS Cast TV.